What is the end of Gog and Magog? And why has Allah created two of them, not one? Two tribes. Let's take the second question first. Dajjal is one being, but Gog and Magog are two sets of people. They behave the same way. They are linked to each other racially. They are different from all the rest of mankind. Why are they two? Incidentally, there is a website on the Ashkenazi Jew. And in that website you will find medical evidence. There was a medical conference which was held on the Ashkenazi. And the evidence was produced in that conference that the Ashkenazi Jew is genetically different from all other human beings. He is a unique phenomenon in history, the Ashkenazi Jew. Now, why are they two? Answer: Dajjal is an individual operating in the unseen world. So Dajjal needs his foot soldiers. Gog and Magog are his foot soldiers. Gog, his right hand, and Magog, his left hand. Why does he need two? Because this is part of his strategy, his method through which he deceives. He offers you an alternative of George Bush, or what is his name for him? Kerry? What Kerry? John Kerry? You have a choice between George Bush, who is the devil personified, and John Kerry, who is presented to look like an angel. And so 8 million Muslims in North America will now all go and march to the polls and vote for John Kerry, as they did for George Bush 4 years ago. They didn't listen to us. 8 million Muslims went and voted for George Bush and ended up with mess on their face. This is part of the strategy of Dajjal, to offer you an alternative. That this one looks evil, this one good. But there's an expression in Trinidad, I learned it when I was a boy. What is the expression? All same. Huh? Khaki pants, you never hear it? All same khaki pants. Same old khaki pants. You heard it before? Huh? Sisters, you heard? It's the same thing. Whether you vote for Kerry or whether you vote for George Bush, it makes no difference. It makes no difference. This one is camouflaged to look different. Kerry says that the state of Israel was justified in assassinating Sheikh Ahmad Yassin. Kerry says that the state of Israel was justified in assassinating Abdulaziz Rantisi, his successor. Kerry says that the state of Israel is justified in continuing its policy of state-sponsored assassinations of leaders of Hamas. So what difference is there between the two? This side Magog, this side Gog, all same khaki pants. But you're given alternatives. You do not see that they're actually the same. And because you're repulsed by this, you turn and you accept that. It happened time and again on Iraq. France and Germany opposed the war. So France and Germany look like the good guys, and the United States and Britain like the bad guys. Prior to that, communism and capitalism. This is a free world, the capitalist world, and that is the Marxist communist world. The Marxist communist world is based on socialism, And they want to bring human egalitarianism to the marketplace, for example. So that has the appearance of being better. And so large number of Muslims went and joined the socialist bandwagon, including Muslims in Trinidad who attempted to take over Trinidad in 1970. And who have now become newspaper columnists. Jump onto the socialist bandwagon because that appeared to be a different alternative to this one. No, you deceive. It's same old khaki pants. Gog and Magog. So that's one of the first reasons why you have two, in order that you can utilize this to deceive. Second reason, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by giving us two, provides us with evidence by which we can recognize Gog and Magog. Where there should be only one uniform kind of footprints, you see two. And there is no explanation for this difference in footprints. An age which is becoming the age of globalization. All of mankind being embraced in one uniform way of life. The way we dress. 100 years ago, in this room, none of you will be wearing shirt and trousers. None. 100 years later, all the men, no, with some exceptions, wearing shirt and trousers. Okay? Process of bringing all of mankind into one uniform way of life. One language, the English language, taking over from all languages. Okay. Nowhere is this uniformity more spectacularly demonstrated than in our technological society. Well, then how do you explain the following? Would it be correct to say that all of mankind today measure temperature, centigrade? All of mankind today measure temperature with centigrade, except who? Uncle Sam. Except only one man, only one fella, only one. Uncle Sam. Is it that Uncle Sam does not have the technical capacity to utilize centigrade? Huh? Well, then what possible explanation can there be for one country, the United States of America, stubbornly and obstinately persisting with the use of Fahrenheit when all the rest of mankind has been embraced in one uniform way for the measurement of temperature, the centigrade? There is no answer for that. Except that these are the footprints of Gog and Magog. Would it be correct to say that all of mankind today measure weights, metric, and volume, metric? You buy gasoline for your car, you buy it by the liter. And you measure distance by kilometers. All of mankind except Uncle Sam. Well, then why does Uncle Sam persist with miles? So many miles from New York to Toronto. And why does Uncle Sam persist with gallon? When you buy gas for your car, you buy by the gallon. Huh? Is there any rational explanation? None. None. You cannot explain it. The only explanation, these are the footprints of Gog and Magog. We buy mangoes by the kilo. But in the United States, you buy them by the pound. Can we explain it? No. Okay. Ever went and bought an electrical appliance and bring it back home? And when you plug it in, whole thing burn up? It happened already? But electricity came from that world. The White World Order, they gave us electricity. Thomas Edison. Why could they not have one uniform voltage? Is it so difficult for them that they cannot institute one uniform voltage around the world? How come you're still using 110 and them using 220? Is there any rational explanation? None? None? They have the technical competence to bring it into one uniform voltage. We have an engineer sitting here. But they would not do it. It still remains 110 over here and 220 out there. The only explanation, these are footprints, so that the acute observer can see this ought to have been uniform. It is not uniform. There is no rational explanation for this resistance to uniformity. And therefore these are the footprints of Gog and Magog. Have you ever driven a motor car from Britain to France as I did? Yeah. I had my car in Dublin, in Ireland. I went to Dublin and picked up the car. I took the ferry, reached to Wales, and I drove across the whole of England, and then I reached to Dover. And then I got on the ferry again, and the ferry took me to Calais, in France. And when I drove off the Calais now, the ferry, I have to drive through France. I have to go to Paris, and then I have to go beyond Paris to reach Geneva. And I want to reach Geneva before night. See, this Molana has some very exciting times in his life, eh? But I driving down the road, and I see this huge, you know, the tractor trailer that carries 20 motor cars on them. I see this fellow coming straight at me. I said, look at that man, he's sleeping. He's driving on the wrong side of the road. A tractor trailer, dangerous, eh? No, he's not he driving on the wrong side of the road, it's me. It's me. And at the very last moment, when the tractor trailer about to make a sandwich out of Imran Hussein, at the last moment I pull aside. Huh? He couldn't pull aside without throwing everything down the drain. I said, well, look at that. In Britain, they drive on one side of the road, but in Europe, they drive on the other side of the road. I mean, are these people so devoid of intellectual capacity that they can't change this and you make it uniform? It's dangerous. It ranked dangerous. You could be killed. Yesterday, my wife and I were going up, or was it this morning, to Port of Spain. And right on the Solomon Hochua Highway, we see a driver going down the road on the wrong side of the road. Cool as a cucumber, driving on the wrong side of the road. Probably just landed from New York. How do you explain this incapacity to bring about a uniformity when that uniformity is essential for safety? But no, it would not come. Britain stands out. Even United States drives on the right side of the road. Britain, no. Right, and Britain the left. So two countries stand out, Britain and the United States, different from the rest. What does it signify? Answer. here are footprints of Gog and Magog. But it's up to you to choose why you would like to, what explanation. Now, before we end the destruction of Gog and Magog, and we will finish. When Nabi Isa alayhi salam comes, the hadith is that he will destroy, he will kill Dajjal. After he kills Dajjal, then comes Gog and Magog. The last wave of Gog and Magog are now released. They pass by the Sea of Galilee to attack Nabi Isa alayhi salam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directs him to Jerusalem and tells him to go up the mountain, which is a mountain in Jerusalem. And he goes up with the believers up the mountain. And he wipes their faces for them. He gives them words of comfort because the believers are being terrorized. Gog and Magog then lay siege to the mountain. And this hadith I can't explain. They then shoot their arrows up into the sky. And they say, we have killed those who are on earth. Now let us kill those who are in the heavens above. And Allah allows the arrows to come back down with blood on them. Tomorrow, maybe 30 years from now, there will be a young scholar in Trinidad who will come forward and explain this hadith, inshallah. But as of today, it's not possible to understand it. We have killed those who are on earth. Now let us kill those who are in the heavens above. So Gog and Magog shoot their arrows up into the sky. Missiles. Then Nabi Isa alayhi salam prays to Allah to destroy Gog and Magog. And Allah answers his prayer. And the hadith is that a little insect will attack them at the back of their necks, bite them. And they will all fall down, paralyzed. And by next morning they'll not only be all dead, but their bodies will begin to rot, to decompose. A medical doctor in South Africa analyzed the hadith and said to me, this implies that it will not be a viral attack, but a bacterial attack. Any doctors here? No doctors? One doctor? Right, mashallah. We have a sister who's a doctor here. It will not be a viral attack, he said, but a bacterial attack. Because he said that it is a bacterial attack which will produce this decomposition. Would you agree, sister? You agree with that? Okay. Now then, our sister who is a medical doctor has some homework to do now. What is it that can possibly explain a very large number of people, all attacked by a little insignificant insect, the back of the neck, and they all fall down paralyzed, and by next morning they're all dead? A uniform pattern for all of them. What can possibly explain it? It is, of course, a biological warfare. Allah wages war biologically. Is there any explanation for this? I have suggested that this implies that these people, Gog and Magog, did not have the capacity to fight back. Their bodies had lost the capacity to fight back. The body has been given a system called the immune system, with which to be able to resist attacks from outside. And I have suggested that a possible explanation for this would be that the immune system has collapsed. And therefore we should be monitoring the immune system in the world in which we live today. If our hypothesis is correct, then we will be witnessing a weakening of the immune system. As people begin to live the way of life of Gog and Magog, the immune system grows weaker and weaker. And as the body is no longer strong enough to fight back on its own, because the immune system has been weakened, the doctor now has to prescribe something called antibiotics. The evidence, I believe, is already in that around the world there is a uniform phenomenon, the weakening of the immune system around the world. And indeed, I have a younger brother who is a PhD in medicine and who specializes in microbiology, and who has written to me to inform me that there are now people for whom no antibiotics can work. None. They run out of antibiotics. So they are the equivalent of Gog and Magog when they are. What is it can explain the phenomenon of the weakening of the immune system? Again, my answer is the immune system gets its sustenance from food, not from Valini's pharmacy, from food. The genetic composition of food is such that it allows food to not only provide sustenance, nutrition, but also that food may function medicinally. The great engineer engineered the genetic composition of food in such a way. When you go and tamper with that genetic composition and modify it so that the crop might increase, yes, farmer making more money now, but the food can no longer function medicinally. And so as we corrupt food, as we change its genetic composition, this is one of the possible explanations for the fact that the immune system is growing weaker. But the sister might want to give us some more explanations for the weakening of the immune system. Would you have any comments, sister? Wait. Pass it, please. Sorry.
Well, the only thing I was thinking about is, as you said, which really surprised me, is that it has been proven that they are genetically different. A fly is a thing that will bite me and you. And if it doesn't kill me, because I am genetically different from you, it be not so much the immune system, but the genetics, that maybe their genetics will have them susceptible to the bite of the fly, whereas ours will not.
Mashallah. That's a very perceptive comment, sister. I didn't think of that. I mentioned to you that, in fact, it was a a medical doctor in Worcester in Massachusetts, Dr. Salim, who spoke to me on the subject. To the west of Boston is a city called Worcester, where the biggest hospital system of Massachusetts is located, Worcester. Dr. Salim is there. And he's the man who did the research on Ashkenazi Jews. And he's the one who pulled out the information from the internet that the Ashkenazi Jew was genetically different from all the rest of mankind. So the sister's observation is very important. She says, perhaps it is not the weakening of the immune system that has caused it, but the fact that they're genetically different from all the rest of mankind. So when Allah attacks them with this little insect, they all fall down and die. This then is the end of our treatment of the subject of Gog and Magog. These are the two passages of the Quran that you need. وَحَرَامٌ عَلَى قَرْيَةٍ أَهْلَكْنَاهَا أَنَّهُمْ لَا يَرْجِعُونَ حَتَّى إِذَا فُتِحَتْ يَأْجُوجُ وَمَأْجُوجُ وَهُمْ مِنْ كُلِّ حَدَبٍ يَنْسِلُونَ. That Allah has placed a ban on a town which He destroyed, that the people of that town cannot return to reclaim it as their own until Gog and Magog are released. And after they're released, they spread out in all directions, taking control of the world. And then this is the ayah from Suratul Kahf. That was Suratul Anbiya. Inna Ya'juja wa Ma'juja mufsiduna fil ard. That surely Gog and Magog inflict fasad upon the land, the people, corrupting everything, oppressing everything.